I came across a story about a week or so ago and thought we need to do something on this because it's just one of those situations where, regardless of what age you are or what you do, when you one day decide, you know what, I need to do something completely different. And in the case of our next guest, Jessica Donnan, registered nurse, who decided to quit her job at age 29, the advanced age of 29, after working through the pandemic. So she's a nurse working in BC, worked through the pandemic. We all know how difficult that was for people in the system at the time, right? If you were a nurse, a doctor, etc., and quit her job to, in her words, find herself. Jessica Donnan is on the line. Jessica, thanks so much for being here this afternoon.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
So I don't want to put words in your mouth. So when you say find yourself, I think we've all at one point in our lives, sat down and said, yeah, I need to do something completely different. I'm either not happy with what I'm doing or maybe there's more out there. For you to reach that decision, was that partly impacted by how hard it was working during the pandemic as a nurse?
Yeah, I think when the pandemic happened, a lot of folks were able to kind of stay home and take a little break during the pandemic. And I think actually a lot of our nursing careers sort of ramped up and we were working like just constant weeks of overtime and wearing a lot of personal protective equipment. So you lost just a lot of that human contact with your patients, like with your mask and your goggles and your gowns. And so I think just doing about like 2 years straight of that kind of wore me down a lot.
So you decided, now when I say people, kind of wrestle with that decision at one point of when to do it, you decided the best way to do that was to go on a short hike from Mexico back to Canada. It's called the Pacific Crest Trail. So I will assume that's 4,200 kilometers, by the way, for people wondering. That's what you decided to do to find yourself. But from your story, at least from what I read, Jessica, you did this thinking, well, this is, a chance for me to be on my own. And it turned out to be anything but that, didn't it?
Yeah, I think I was really lucky because I met a lot of other really great hikers along the way. I felt that when I went on the hike, I was like, okay, I gave up a lot to go do the hike. I had to give up my apartment and sell all my stuff and use all my savings. So I was like, okay, I don't want to go with anybody because I might have to compromise on things. And I'd already given up a lot to go there. So I was like, okay, I think I have to do this by myself, which is super scary. So I was really lucky that I ended up meeting other hikers along the way and we had similar values. So I didn't have to make those compromises that I was worried about.
How much obviously you don't make a decision to go hike 4,200 kilometers, never having done any of this before. So how much, hiking was a thing for you before you decided to do this?
Not really. So that's why I am going to write a book about the hike because it's kind of comical how many, the first night on the trail, I didn't know how to set my tent up. But I had to tie it to the trees around me and almost set myself on fire with my stove. So I think I didn't really know what I was doing, but that was kind of part of the fun for me.
Did your friends tell you were crazy?
Yeah, they were like, well, what are you thinking? Why don't you just go for a month and do something? I think this is a little bit extreme, but my saying has always been go big or go home. So I just was like, no, I'm either doing this or nothing. That's just kind of my personality.
And how long did you set aside? How long did you think it would take you to do this?
I kind of say the trail takes about 6 months. So I left in April and then I finished it at the end of September.
Okay. And so you mentioned obviously about meeting people along the way. So you discovered along with people reading your story that there is in fact a hiking community out there, right? There are people you met all along the way. Yeah,
there was other hikers that do the hike, and they have to do it during a certain season just because you can't really be out there during the winter because the whole trail follows the mountain crest. So basically you have to start in the spring. So anyone else who wants to go do this starts around the same time as you. So you just kind of end up camping somewhere and you see another tent and you talk to someone else and you realize, oh, we kind of want to go the same distance the next day. Maybe we'll walk together for a little while. I prefer not to walk with people during the day because I wanted that reflective time, but it was nice to have people to camp with or eat lunch with some days.
Yeah, it's interesting to note that, in a sense, so you go out on this wanting to be on your own, you discover that there are a lot of people out there sort of doing the same thing, and it kind of restores your faith in humanity, right?
100%, because I think after the pandemic, I think most people just felt really disconnected from humanity in general, no matter what your views were. And so I think it was really nice for me to have that just human connection again. And like a lot of the other folks out there had also quit their jobs and ran away from society. And so we
really?
all connected on that level, which was fun.
I'm curious of that part as well. So you're not just meeting someone, you're getting their stories as well. So is that what you discovered, that some of these people had done sort of the same thing you had done, doing this trail for that reason?
Yeah, I think I made probably like there's a dozen people I can name that are like lifelong bonded friends now because of this trail. And it's like we all just took that risk to like give up everything to go and just try this, not knowing if we'd even make it a day or a week out there, but like just the value of like, I guess, taking that leap. I really admire that in the other people that I met. So got friends from like all over the world with a couch to sleep on now, which is kind of cool.
Did you have any like crazy experiences? I mean, at one point, I mean, I know if you're going on a trail, you have to worry about animals and stuff like that. Anything crazy kind of happened at any point?
Yeah, like unfortunately, there's a lot of wildlife out there, and as I mentioned, I like to hike by myself during the day. So I had some pretty scary like bear encounters with like baby bear running up to me and the mom getting quite upset, and then the rattlesnakes were just enormous, like a fire hose. I was not really expecting there to be quite so many evil, poisonous snakes out there. So I think I had quite a few animal encounters, which was pretty scary, and then. I had to spend one night in an outhouse because I got stuck in like a really, really dangerous storm. So I think that was a real low point for me. My mom now tells everybody, "Oh, this is my daughter. She sleeps in outhouses." And I'm like, "Well, no, it wasn't planned."
Did you have a moment or moments when you thought, okay, you know what? No, this is too much, and you're thinking of turning back? Did that ever happen?
Yeah, pretty much every day. But then you talk yourself out of it. And, because it's definitely like the hardest thing that I ever tried to do, but I don't know. I think the embarrassment of quitting would have been too big because I already like told everybody at my work, like, oh, I'm quitting to go do this trail. And I just thought I couldn't really face going back early.
You know, I asked you at the beginning if they thought you were crazy, and I imagine, as you said, you got some looks, but did anyone think, wow, you know, sometimes it takes one person to stand up in a room and go, this is what I'm going to do. Hey, sounds good. Why don't I do it too? Did anyone even think to join you or suggest it might be a good idea?
Yeah, actually, I had a friend that did end up doing the trail because I told them, I'm going to go do this like crazy trail. So then they ended up doing the trail too. But I said, you have to start at a completely different time as me because like I'm pretty set on the soul of adventure. So I ended up convincing someone else to do it, but we didn't hike together at all.
Okay. The one other thing I would ask, and I think it's an important part of the story, right? You left your job to go do this because, as I said, you had to find yourself. But at the end of all this, you end up saying, you know what? And when I brought up that thing about restoring your faith in humanity, you decided to go back to nursing.
Yeah, my boss actually messaged me on Instagram while I was away and asked me if I wanted my job back. So I was like, sure, why not? Sometimes you just need a little bit of a break from like whatever job you're doing and just to reflect. And I love nursing because it's a huge privilege just to be able to get to work with people at their most vulnerable moments. But I think, our cups can get very empty if we don't take like a little sabbatical once in a while.
I'm just curious too, is it any different now that you've gone back to nursing, you know, given the whatever experience you've lived? Do you find it any different? Do you sort of, you know, in terms of doing the job that you're doing now, does it mean more than it did before? I'm trying to try to understand.
Yeah, I think I don't get as stressed anymore. Like, I guess once you deal with living in a tent for 6 months, you're like, okay, well, whatever happens, you know, like I can survive any shift, but no matter how crazy it gets. And just try to be kinder to all of my colleagues and patients. Like, you just don't really know what they're going through. And so I think just bringing the calmer energy into my work has helped me a lot anyway.
Good for you. It's a great story. Well, except for the sleeping in the outhouse part. But otherwise, Jessica, thank you so much. Looking forward to the book too, and I'm sure a lot of people will be as well. Thanks for your time this afternoon.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
You bet.
Have a great day.
You too. Jessica Donnan, 29-year-old out in BC, worked as a nurse and said, nope, got to stop doing this, and went to hike the 4,200-kilometer Pacific Crest Trail from Mexico back to Canada. Great story.